Hey everybody, it's Chris Cassidy with eXp Realty, and I wanted to do this video. I recently switched companies. I've been a realtor for 27 years, over 27 years, and I recently changed companies, and I've gotten a lot of feedback about that. A lot of friends reaching out, fellow agents, even clients, and I've had a lot of phone conversations, text conversations, DMs, you know, emails, all kinds of stuff. And I welcome those conversations because it's a great story. And I thought that while I was at it, I would just create this video, put it here, pack it here on my new channel. And that way it could be a reference for people. They could see what's going on before they even reach out to me. And I hope after you watch this video, if you're an agent considering a company change, that you would reach out to me so we can talk about it, because there's a lot of things going on here at eXp, and I'm very, very excited. So let's get into it. And I will say it's a surprising story, because I'm going to throw a couple of curveballs in there about things that happened in my life in the last year or so that really created an impetus to make this move sooner than later. And I'm going to get into all of that, and I'm going to be raw, I'm going to be transparent, and I hope you find it interesting, and I hope that maybe it spurs you to improve your own situation. So let's get into it. So I was licensed in Massachusetts in 1995, so over 27 years, and I got my New Hampshire license in 2018. I've worked for a few different companies. I started at a Century 21 office. I was at Remax for probably 15 years of that career, and a couple of independents. And I spent the last 8 years at Keller Williams Realty, which was actually a great experience. They're an awesome company. I can't recommend them enough, really. It's just that things changed for me. But if you're a new agent just starting out, it could be a good fit for you. I feel like there's really two companies at the top of things right now, and this is not against any other company, because I've worked for a few of them and I have friends in all of these companies. But I feel like right now, Keller Williams is up there, and eXp, I mean, it is the fastest growing real estate company in the world, and I'm very excited about the move. And when I was at Keller Williams, I was there for 8 years. I spent all 8 years on the ALC from 2014 to 2022. The ALC is the agent or associate leadership council. It's basically the board of directors of your office. And so I had a role in helping the owner to chart the course of the company. Things that he was planning on would often go before us, and we would talk about them, and then a lot of it got implemented, some of it didn't. So it was kind of cool to have that role within the organization. We had over 400 agents, like 450 agents. So, to be on a group of 10 or 12 people that were really kind of trusted by the owner to make decisions like that was a big honor. And we helped a lot of agents financially. We did a lot of things otherwise. It was very, very good. The last 2 years, 2021 and 2022, I was also on the regional ALC and the international ALC. So for the New England region and internationally worldwide for Keller Williams, I was on those ALCs as well. And it was very rewarding. It was again, it's a great company. But let's get into why things changed. And to do that, we have to talk about my COVID story. So my family and I were diagnosed with COVID for the second time. We had it the first time like in January of 2020, so early that we didn't even know that it was COVID. And only three of us even had symptoms, myself and my two daughters. My wife and my two sons were asymptomatic. And we found out after the fact, because one of my daughters had a post-COVID effect. Kind of interesting. So anyway, we were diagnosed around December 2nd of 2021, last year. We were diagnosed again as a family. We all had it. My doctor called me and said, you're a great candidate for monoclonal antibodies. It was about 6 or 7 days before I got in to get them, though. But I did go into the hospital, and they gave me monoclonal antibodies. However, so that was around the 8th of December, so about a week, a little under a week I'd had COVID. However, while some of the symptoms got better, I started having a hard time breathing and things like that after a few days. And in hindsight, my oxygen was low enough that I almost wasn't given the monoclonal antibodies, which I wish that it tipped someone off to the other problems that were occurring. But nobody caught it, and I can't blame anybody. I went to the hospital on December 15th, so I'd had COVID about 2 weeks. And I went to the hospital because I was having trouble breathing. I couldn't even get out of bed. Our primary bath and our primary bedroom is like, maybe 10 or 12 steps from my side of the bed to the bathroom. And I would literally get up, go to the bathroom, get back into bed, and be exhausted. I was having a hard time breathing. I would have to catch my breath. So I went to the hospital on the 15th. They were immediately alarmed. My oxygen was really low. They admitted me. And then the next morning I spoke with the doctor. He told me a few interesting things. Number one, my oxygen was like 77, which is very dangerous. I was in full-blown hypoxia, which is when your organs, your tissues, everything are starving for oxygen. So had it progressed, I could have gotten delirious. Organs would have shut down. Excuse me. I was told the next morning, had I come in one day later, like if I come in that night instead of the night before, that I wouldn't have made it. Like that's how serious it was. And that's very, very sobering. I literally would have died. At the age of 54, I would have been a COVID statistic. And it's hard to talk about it even now without getting emotional. I can feel it coming, so I apologize. But I have 4 young kids. My kids now are 15, 14, 11, and 9. So a year ago, 14, 13, 10, and 8. They almost lost their daddy. My wife almost lost her husband. It's very sobering, and it's hard to talk about even now. But I was told that I would be able to get out of the hospital. My lungs had responded overnight, the first night, to the oxygen. And so they knew that they could get me back on my feet and out of the hospital. I was told, though, in no uncertain terms, so this is December 16th, I was told that I would be in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks. So I was going to miss Christmas. I kind of argued with them a little bit nicely. And they said, listen, your best case scenario is you get out on the 25th, which would be 10 days. You get out that afternoon. So the idea of, immediately was like, you're not going to spend Christmas with your family, which we hadn't even really done anything yet. We were so busy, but we hadn't even done any of the good stuff yet. And the idea of missing Christmas was it just wasn't an option. So I basically told the doctor, I said, okay, here's the deal. I need to get out of here as soon as possible. I want to be out of here before Christmas, but I'm going to be the best patient you guys have ever had. And all I ask is I'll do everything. I won't ask you any questions about when I'm getting out of here or anything. All I ask is that if I'm good enough to get out before Christmas, that you let me know and you get me out of here. And they said, okay. So my wife, that night was like, well, when are you going to get out of here? And I said, they said 2 or 3 weeks. I said, but I'm not going to be in here that long. I said, but I did tell them that I would be, model patient, not ask questions. So don't ask me again because I'm just going to give you the same answer. I don't know. And that's how it went. And fortunately, I did respond quickly to the medications. I also, the main reason why I was in there is I had a blood clot in one of my lungs. So that's what was causing me not to be able to breathe, and that's why the monoclonal antibodies didn't really work, because I already had the blood clot in my lung as a result of the COVID, but nobody knew it. So that didn't come out until when I went into the hospital on the 15th, that they did CAT scans and everything else, and that's why it was so serious. That's why I almost died. So every day I just did what I could to get a little bit better. I tried to be the model patient. I tried to be super nice to the nurses. Literally the housekeeper that came in every day and emptied my trash, even though there was no reason to, because I was literally bedridden. And there was no trash, pretty much. I was nice to everybody. I talked to her every day. I just talked to everybody without being a nuisance and just kind of did my time. And they came in on the afternoon of the 21st and they said, excuse me, how would you like to go home in the next day or two? And I said, I'd love that. And they said, okay. And came in the next morning and they did some tests and stuff. And no, they came in that afternoon, I'm sorry. And they did some tests. They had me get up, walk around the room. I was still on oxygen. And they basically said, you're going to go home tomorrow, morning or afternoon. But by tomorrow night, you'll be home, which was the 22nd. So I got out way ahead of schedule, and I'm a man of faith, and I just credit God, and I credit the prayers. I had friends and family praying for me, a lot of people at church. I kept the whole thing off social media. I did not want anyone knowing. I didn't. And if you think back to that time a year ago, there was still so much arguing going on about COVID and lockdowns and everything else. I just didn't want any of that nonsense, any of those distractions. I didn't want my blood pressure going up for any reason. So I got out on the 22nd. I told my wife, I said, when you come get me, don't tell the kids that you're coming to get me. Tell them that you have to bring something to the hospital for me, which she did. She had to bring the truck to me so that we could all drive home. So she came and I came wheeled out, and my kids, it was very emotional, and I got to go home. I literally sat on the couch for the 3 days leading up to Christmas, just sat on the couch with my oxygen machine, my 24/7 oxygen machine that followed me around with 50 feet of hose. Thing weighed 75 pounds. I felt so bad for my wife, but she was gracious. She lifted that thing and carried it up and down the stairs every day for me because I couldn't. I was under strict orders not to exert myself at all. And I would just sit in the living room and just count my blessings and thank the Lord that I was home. And, I had missed a lot though with my family. I missed like the Christmas lights. I missed some family outings, like things we would like to do, like go see Santa. There was a few kind of traditional things we do every year, and I miss those, and I miss get-togethers with friends and people at church and everything else. I really didn't leave the house for a few weeks either, other than a couple of doctor's appointments and stuff. So, again, I get emotional, but yeah, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I came through it. It's funny, I tell this story, but in October of last year, October of 2021, I kept getting this feeling, and I shared it with my wife. I said, it's kind of funny. I said, I'm really looking forward to Christmas this year. And she'd be like, that's weird. You're usually not like that. And I go, yeah, I know. But for some reason, I just think it's going to be the best Christmas ever. And to be honest with you, it was the best Christmas ever because it was a Christmas where I might not have been there. Very easily. If God had other plans, my wife would have spent Christmas as a widow. My kids as having lost their dad. So from that standpoint, it actually was the best Christmas ever. And, God doesn't always give us these things in ways that make sense to us initially. But when I look back, it really, really was my best Christmas ever. So the thing is, I went through that whole thing. And, the thing that really, really happened is that COVID changed my mindset about business and life. Okay, I realized a couple of things really quickly. I wasn't ready to die. Again, I'm a man of faith, so I don't mean in that sense, but we didn't have enough in place that if I wasn't here as the breadwinner, that my family could go on without me, without having to change up a lot of things. My wife quit a job 10 years ago. She homeschools the 4 kids. She may have had to go back to work. We'd still have this mortgage. We had just bought a truck. We had a payment on that. I usually don't have payments on cars, but on that one we did. And so I wasn't leaving everything in a nice, tidy package with a bow on top if I had left. So I realized that, and I realized there's things I need to do. There's things that I can do that I can affect that will make things better for our family, if God forbid anything like that were to happen again. And so I became laser focused on creating a true business and a legacy to take care of my family. So again, this was all December of last year. Now I want to go back to October of last year because I had lunch with my broker owner at Keller Williams, and I was already thinking about eXp. I had thought about eXp for years. I had seen I had seen the growth in the previous three and a half years at that point of eXp. They went from 5,000 agents to 50,000 agents. It was crazy. And so I had my eye on them, and I was watching, and I was seeing all this energy and all of this brain power going there, and big sales trainers and people in the real estate business with large followings were flocking to eXp. So my broker had just bought out his two partners in the 3 offices that he owned, the KW offices. And I ended up having lunch with him. I was invited to lunch with him, and he wanted to know my feelings going into this year, going into 2022 about everything, post-merger. Okay, we merged. The dust has settled. What are your feelings? How are you doing? And I was very, very honest with him. His name is Jason, and he's a great, great guy. I was very honest with him. I had some things I wanted KW to do, like what they would have to do as a company for me to stay long term. I even had a deadline for this to happen, which was Keller Williams every February has something called Family Reunion, which every year it's in a different place, but it's the big Keller Williams conference, and it's usually middle to end of February. And so I had a deadline of say March 1st, and I told Jason by March 1st these things would have to happen. And what it boiled down to was there was a lot of talk in the real estate press at that point, a lot of rumors, everything else, that Keller Williams was going to go public, and they would start offering stock and things like that. And I basically told Jason that for Keller Williams to keep me long term, that there would have to be that they would have to go public, that we as agents in the company would have the opportunity to purchase stock, get stock awards, things like that, which are things that eXp was offering. And he said, well, and I told him, I said, so the deadline is I said, you have my full loyalty until March 1st, but after that, all bets are off. And so Jason said, I appreciate your honesty, and what would you do if that didn't happen? Where would you go? And I told him flat out, I said I would go to eXp. And it was a good conversation. He was understanding of a lot of the points. As an owner, it's different for him because he's bought a franchise and he has, ties to the company. It would not be an easy thing to disentangle. But he appreciated my honesty and gave me some good things to consider. And that's how that went. What actually happened is Family Reunion came and went, and we didn't go public. Not only did we not go public, but some of the people that had been brought into the company that made everyone think they were going public left the company. So basically Family Reunion came and went. Everything was status quo. And, there you go. It's business as usual. So now I had some things to think about. And the thing is, in between that meeting and Family Reunion came my bout with COVID. What happened is I became, as I said, laser focused. I became mercenary. This is what I have to do for my family. So the original plan, as I talked to my wife, Jen, and everything, was the original plan was to get through this year and then make the move to eXp. So kind of all year I was planning that. And I wasn't being deceitful about it in any way. I was given 100%. I was still on the ALC. I was on the regional ALC, the national ALC, international ALC. Still doing my thing with the company, but the goal was always to, finish out this year and then go to eXp. Now, what actually happened is I made this decision basically end of September, and it came down to why wait? Because I had talked to a bunch of people recently about eXp, people that had left, actually mostly people that had left KW and went to eXp. And so I kind of knew what I was doing, and it became, why should I wait till the end of the year? And I was actually coming into a little bit of a business lull, so it made sense. It could be done without being messy. I could just leave. And so on October 7th, I was officially eXp. I let the broker know. I finished everything out. I transferred everything over. I had to switch the licenses, which, 2 states, it was a little bit of work. And but I'm here. I'm here at eXp, and it's exciting, and I'm happy about it. And why am I excited? Well, there's a lot of reasons. So as I mentioned, eXp does offer stock options. You get awarded stock for different milestones. You can be awarded the amount of money you paid into the company with your commission split until you cap. If you do certain things and hit certain milestones, you can get that entire amount awarded back in the form of stock. And listen, it's probably the healthiest real estate stock out there right now, even though the market's in the toilet, which I'm kind of glad, because I don't mind if my first year or two I get more shares because when it goes back up, I'd rather have the more shares and have them be worth like 4 or 5 times what they're worth now. But the stock is trading around $11, $12 a share right now. Most real estate companies are lucky to be $2 or $3 a share. Like the next highest one I've seen is $6 a share. So it's a healthy company. We just passed 86,000 agents right after I joined. It was 85,000, and in the month it's literally a month and a week, and we've already added another 1,000 agents nationwide. So over 86,000 agents. A lot of differences, a lot of similarities. They're very similar companies, but a lot of differences too. Dealing with paperwork is easier. The transaction management system, the back end, the CRM is easier. The websites are better. All that stuff, the technology is way better. Sorry to my KW friends, but it's just a fact. And I'm a tech guy, so when I tell you that, hopefully it carries a little weight, because it is a lot easier. The amount of paperwork I have to do is less, which is good. It's more time to focus on my clients. Just recently in my first closing with eXp, only took a month and a day. I came in or a couple of days, wrote an offer about a week after I got here, and that just closed. And I've got a ton of other business in the pipeline that's coming. So I'm excited. I'm going to go into the new year with a lot of business going on. I'm happy about that. I'm really happy about the group I joined under, because eXp is also a revenue share company. So and KW had profit share, which, I always did a little bit of profit share at Keller Williams. Revenue share is a whole different animal, though. A lot more potential for you to do well as you attract other agents into the company. And really, any real estate company I've ever been at, while I was there, I always attracted agents to the company. But at these 2 companies, at least I get some recognition and actually some compensation for it. And it doesn't hurt the agent coming in. It's not like I'm taking a piece of their pie to do it. So that's good. The upline I'm in is fantastic. I am in there are 4 groups above me that are very growth-minded, not just in terms of growing agent count, but also transaction count and sales volume count. We have like the 4 fastest growing groups in eXp are all above me. So one thing about eXp, I think, is that you should really take a look at who you join under, because who you join under determines what you'll have access to. You get everything eXp has to offer, but as I've said to people, it's kind of like, if I ordered a Corvette from the Chevy dealer and I ordered a fully loaded Corvette, and then I go to pick up the Corvette and I'm all happy, and then the salesman hands me the keys and says, oh, by the way, before you came and picked it up, we put a supercharger on the engine. It's not a normal option, but it will give you more performance, more horsepower. Don't get a ticket. here's your keys. And that's kind of how, when you join in a good upline or in a good downline like that, when you have people above you that are really, really growth oriented, it will help you to be growth oriented. And it can help you, it can kind of speed things up for you. So it's like the difference between buying, you go to eXp, you bought the car, but with this, it's like having a supercharger on the engine, and it didn't cost you anything else. And it's actually going to help you be more productive business-wise. I've already gotten a ton of ideas. I've been on a ton of trainings and weekly meetings and webinars and things like that. And I'm an old dog, but I can always learn new tricks. And I'm very excited and happy about what I'm learning and who I'm learning from. Guys like Jake Hinder, Mike Reese, Dan Beer, Kyle Whistle, people that have nationwide reputations that are above me, and that, like, I can literally call these people and ask them questions. These are big sales trainers and people that have done millions of dollars worth of sales and also coaching businesses and things like that. And I get access to these people. And so it's amazing. And, our group, the Fast Forward group, the Honey Badger Nation, all of these groups, Real Connection, which is the one I'm directly under my sponsor, Joe Turco, also a Massachusetts agent. Really just the future is unlimited. I just see it as, I'm excited to tap into all of these tools, which I've already been doing, and the opportunities that are there, because as I said, you join eXp and it's opportunity all day long. But the idea of being able to go in under these people and learn from them and be able to access a lot of the tools and the trainings they have just makes it that much better. And it helps me to grow my own organization, because I am looking to grow my own organization. I was looking to do that at Keller Williams, and Keller Williams got really popular, but there was some missteps along the way, and so that didn't really happen the way I wanted it to. But here at eXp, I'm looking at opportunity to grow my organization, take on some agents, bring on some new people. One thing I did do in 2022 is I dissolved my team. I had my own team, a couple of agents that worked under me, and I dissolved the team, and I have not yet put the team back together, but planning on the first half of 2023, I will be adding a couple of agents directly to my team to build that out again, but hopefully better, and be able to offer more tools and everything for my clients and a better level of service to my clients. So I'm excited about that, and really I'm excited about the whole thing. What started off as such a bad year, although filled with gratitude, but just a struggle of a year, because I had COVID fog for like 8 or 9 months after. So this year was a struggle. I didn't do nearly the amount of business I would normally do in an average year. So I'm looking forward. I'm happy the last couple of months that I am back 100%, mentally, physically, everything. And I'm excited about going into 2023 with this new opportunity at this new company. I've already gotten stock awards. I've already bought stock. I'm very excited, because those are the types of things. That's what I'm going to leave, even if I don't do a ton of revenue share down the road. I figure I have about 15 years left in this business. And because my youngest is 9 years old. So I figure I'm going to keep going until a couple of years after. Maybe she's out of college or whatever. So in that time, what can I do, and how can I improve, Lord willing, how can I improve my family's position? And 15 years of stocks would go a long way by itself. But with the idea of the revenue share and the idea that maybe in 10 years I can slow down, or 5 years, slow down a little bit, not sell as many homes, but give more opportunity to my own team agents to handle my clients, and then also build out a network, a large group. The brain power, the ideas, the marketing ideas, the sales ideas, everything can only benefit all of us. And that's what I'm excited about. And that's what eXp offers. And so if you have any questions and you've thought about eXp for yourself, by all means, reach out to me. You can reach out to me, via email. My website domain is right there on the screen. There'll be other ways you can contact me. below this video on my channel. So thank you very much for taking the time, and let's all of us, no matter where we are, whatever we're doing, let's all help each other and get to that next level. Thank you so much. Make it a great day, as one of my coaches used to always say. Make it a great day.